What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Feed the Beast Infinity Evolved Expert Mode. Oh yeah, guys. So I just got done installing a little bit more drawbridges. You guys told me in the comments that I can use the directional arrows on those drawbridges to place stairs in the correct direction. So yeah, we now have stairs that pop up out of the ground so we can walk in and out of the base quite nicely. And then it all just nicely goes away. So this is pretty cool. I like this a lot. Yeah, it kind of pushes you up. There's a little bit of a delay there, but whatever. I'm not going to be super picky about it. Now, the only thing I don't really like about this is the fact that those drawbridges, even though they assume the color of those blocks, they do not use the connected textures. Yeah, that's the only problem that I can see with this so far. But other than that, that's really cool. So yeah, it's just a pretty simple setup here. These drawbridges right here are inverted, so they are closed when I'm away. These had to be uninverted, or I guess just the normal signal. So yeah, just a slight difference here. So we're pulling that signal for the stairs off the bottom, and then we have a redstone torch here, which is inverting the signal for the drawbridge that closes the door. But yeah, this conduit just runs underneath the drawbridges for the stairs. Yep, nothing too complicated there. It's actually pretty easy to get that set up. The only thing is it requires all of the aluminum brass. Yeah, so we're gonna have to make more of that. I thought I had enough or a little bit left over, and when I was done crafting that up, it's like, nope, we're done. We're out. So I'll have to worry about that another time. I did go downstairs. Oh, you know what? Let's talk about these real quick. So there are new rotating elevator blocks. These are new since the last time I made elevators from extra utilities. Or I'm sorry, from open blocks, not extra utilities. Yeah, these are really cool. So if I'm facing, well, let's go down. Normally, the elevator blocks keep your position. So if I'm facing this way, I'd be facing the wall when I go up. But yeah, these directional ones, or I guess rotating elevators, points you in whichever direction these little arrows are pointing when you place the block. So I'll always be facing towards the smeltery and my inventory when I come upstairs. Same thing down here. I have another one. So if I were to face, this wall and go down, I'm now facing the opposite way and towards the reactor. So that is really cool. I think we're going to take a break from this room, and I'm glad you guys like this setup that I did. It's a little silly, I agree. But you got to do a little creative building every now and then. Yeah, this is still running well, and I did put a sound muffler here. Doesn't help it. It doesn't help it at all. It is so loud. It seems like IC2 does its own thing with sounds. It doesn't follow the same pattern everybody else does, so the sound mufflers don't work with it. And then it's also got this weird thing. As you're walking away, like each block you walk from it, like you can kind of hear the sound change a little bit as it's getting quieter. I don't know. It's really weird. But anyway, yeah, what I want to work on today, I want to do a quarry. I want to start working towards getting ourselves a quarry. That is our main goal for today. I don't know how far we're going to get with that, but that's what I like to work on. So if we look at quarries, there are a couple of different ones. We have the quarry from Buildcraft, and we have the one from Extra Utilities. And then the one from Extra Utilities is all these upgrades, which is really awesome. I think we want to work towards this one. The Ender Quarry really is really good. It'll replace blocks and mines with dirt, or you can get the World Hole upgrade, or I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, World Hole upgrade is exactly what it's called, which will, remove the block completely, similar to the way this quarry works. But yeah, this one is way more efficient because it chunk loads itself in whatever chunk it's working in, whereas this one, I think it chunk loads the entire area and keeps that loaded. Anyway, Ender Quarry is the way we're going, and this is an expensive recipe. So in order to do this, we need emerald electron tubes, which I do not think we've made yet. We might not have enough emeralds. We'll have to look at that. We have to make a mining laser. We already saw how to do this a while ago. We have to do the turning table with the iron turning blank and do the 43222 thing. We've done this previously. We need an emerald chipset, which is 1.2 million RF to create. Tesseract. Yep. Octadic. Whatever. These capacitors. I never can say that word right. I was told how to say it before, and I said it before, and now I can't remember. We have to make a mining well also, which is a diamond chipset, some gold gears, dense iron plates, and a computer and a mining drill. The mining drill is pretty easy, just iron plates. This stuff, just, you know, the basic ICT stuff we've crafted many times. Computer requires a logic processor and an iron chipset. So logic processor, this is the first time we're going to be touching AE2 stuff, requires an inscriber. And in order to make an inscriber, let's see, where did the inscriber go? It's right here. In order to make this, we need the pure Certus quartz crystal. Now, you guys have been telling me about this since day one, that it takes like 16 hours to grow one of these things. I've also heard from other people that does not take this long, so I don't know. We'll go ahead and experiment with this right now and figure it out. So we're supposed to drop a Certus quartz seed made from Certus quartz, dust, and sand into a puddle of water. To make the process faster, add crystal growth accelerators. So the crystal growth accelerators are not too bad. We need Fluix crystals to make these Fluix blocks, and then some quartz glass. So that's glass and then ground up nether quartz or Certus quartz, either or. ME glass cable. So quartz fiber plus some of these Fluix crystals, which is more quartz and more glass. Yeah, that's not too bad. Now, the only thing is, I think the crystal growth accelerator requires power that is provided from either the controller or the power acceptor, which we cannot make because that requires the pellets of RTG fuel or whatever. That requires the plutonium. That's why we're setting up the IC2 reactors and all of this stuff to get to that point. I'm not sure if we can power this any other way. Like, I don't know if we can put a energy cell next to this thing if it'll accept power. I know that the inscriber, you can power that way. I do not know if the crystal growth accelerator is powered that way. And if it is powered that way, then we can make this really quick. If it is 16 hours, it won't take that long. So we got some things to test here. So we need a Certus quartz seed. So let us grab Certus quartz. Grab one of those. Sand. Now, if I remember right, when you grind this up and combine it with sand, that makes 2 seeds, I think. Can I do it in the macerator? Let's try. Yes, we can do it in the macerator. That's fine. Yeah, you get 2 seeds. This item will not despawn. 0.0%. So, what we are going to do is, instead of making our own puddle, we're going to come outside, use our nifty little drawbridge, and we're just going to sit it right there. There you go, little buddy. Have some water. Okay, so we can see there are little particles around it. It is swirling, jumping up and down every now and then. What I want to do is just leave it here for, I don't know, like 10 minutes, pick it up and see where it's at. I think normally, if it doesn't have the really increased time to grow these, I think these grow in about 20 minutes. It might be an hour. I can't remember what the default time is on these. But yeah, we need to grow these up and then check that out. So I'm going to go ahead and wait around for about 10 minutes or so, see where that's at, and we'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, so it's been a little bit of time. Let's go ahead and check it out and see if those crystals are growing or if they're going to take a ridiculous long amount of time. They don't appear to have changed. Now, if we pick them up and we look at them, 1%. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be 16 hours, but that's definitely going to take a minute. All right, let's put those guys back down. No, not here. Get in the water, little fella. All right, there we go. We're also going to make some Fluix crystals, so we have to put charged Certus quartz plus nether quartz plus redstone into water, and that should all just convert like so. Cool. So now we got a new achievement, unnatural. All right, so now that we have these things, I want to try making the crystal growth accelerator and seeing if we can power these externally without having the power acceptor or the ME controller. Okay, so to make those, we needed, I think it was 1 block. Let's take a look at the recipe real quick. So yeah, it's 1 block plus some fused quartz plus some iron, and then these ME glass cables, which we need quartz fiber and a couple of the Fluix crystals. So we'll do quartz fiber. We'll just make 3 recipes of those. And okay, so quartz glass somewhere. This, these, was it either side like that and those, and then iron around the outside? It might have been. Iron. Alright, let's try this real quick, see if we got that right. Didn't. Got it. So there's the crystal growth accelerator. So I'm curious to see if this thing can be powered using like one of our energy cells over here. If it can, we're going to speed this up tremendously. So let's do power out the back. Oh, you know what? I think these had to be powered from the top or the bottom when I've used these before. Let's try that. So we'll do power to the top. But I've never tried powering them like this, so I don't know if this is going to work or not. It doesn't appear so. Now, I wonder, can we put like one of these cables? Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to do this. I think we're actually going to have to wait. Yeah, I don't think that connects at all. That is too bad. Did I get the cable back? I did. I'm trying to think if there's any other way around this that we can get these things powered that I'm not thinking of. I know they had to be powered with these cables, but I don't know if there's any way to get power into the system in a different way. I don't think the fiber cables are going to connect to this, and that would be another way we could get power through. Let's make some of these just to double check. Oh, wait. Well, hold on a second here. We can do that and that. Can we do this? I mean, that looks like it's connected, right? But it's not drawing any power. Dang it! I was hoping we were going to be able to cheat the system. Oh, that's too bad. All right. Well, I'm going to give this a minute here. I'm going to think about what else we can do, if there's anything else. If not, we're probably going to have to move on to something else and wait for those pure Certus quartz crystals to do their thing. I'll probably end up, making a few of those seeds and sticking them in there, and that'll just happen overnight or whatever if we can't get this to speed up any other way. But yeah, give me a moment here, guys, and we'll be back. Alright, guys, so I've done some things around here, just trying to kill some time, waiting for those pure Certus quartz crystals to grow. And one of those things I did is I converted our water wheel over here. Instead of having the middle source block, I removed that. So we only have the top source blocks and the bottom ones. As it turns out, even though when I originally set this up and we saw adding in this bottom one increased the RF and adding in the middle one increased it, and then the top one increased it even further, just having the top and the bottom ones here keeps it at that maximum RF per tick. That middle one no longer does anything when we have this top one in there, which is kind of weird. But yeah, that was pointed out to me by somebody. And sure enough, I removed the center block of water, and we are still making that 88 RF a tick. So this is the way our water wheels are now set up. And I went over to our other water wheels. Let me grab... my jetpack is just charging that up. Yeah, I went over to my other water wheels over here. All 6 of them, where our main power is coming from. My jetpack stopped making sound for some reason. And yeah, I have converted all of these guys back to... well, I converted them to that same setup without the middle water source. I think that looks better overall. It doesn't make sense having that other water source there in the center, even though it appeared to be giving these things more power, but it doesn't. It does if you don't have the top one in there for whatever reason. So yeah, I went ahead and I converted this all to this style, which allowed me to shave off one more block. I had to extend these out previously so you could see the water source there, but yeah, I shaved the block back off. So this is the same size as when we originally set these things up. But yeah, I think that overall looks pretty good. Looks like the sun's going down. Let's go back inside where it's nice and safe. So I went to the Nether and I was clearing out a room. Actually, let's go to the Nether. Let's do this. Let us go to the Nether. So I was going to the Nether and I was clearing out a room in the Nether ceiling, so we have a nice place to warp into. We don't have to worry about monsters shooting us and all this stuff. We just got pigment in the face when we get here. Not a big deal. So yeah, I went here to the Nether. I put in some elevator blocks. If we go all the way down, you can get back to our wither skeleton farm here. But yeah, we just have one elevator block that'll take us all the way back up here to the Nether ceiling. I counted out 11 blocks in each direction, just made a square room, just so we had some room in here to walk around or place things or whatever we're going to do in here. I was kind of thinking we might do nether tunnels over to spawn, put the spawn portal up, maybe one over for the, oh, let's not hit these guys. One over there for the end portal, whichever way that is from here. I guess that would be, well, that's the blaze spawner. Where is it? Oh, right there, nether exit. So yeah, it'd be over in this general area, I guess. So anyway, it turns out digging in these biomes, well, I guess with biomes of plenty in the nether, is a real pain in the butt. I don't know if I've ever done that before. Maybe by the time I got to this point, I already had like way better tools. But yeah, this is like the tools we've been using, right? And there is this flesh everywhere that is such a pain to get through. Like if I try and mine it with the hammer, I can only mine one at a time. I can't do a 3x3. If I try using like a shovel, doesn't change the speed. I can mine it with my pickaxe. It's about the same speed. Yeah, I don't know how to mine through this stuff any faster than that. It is such a pain. Let me go ahead and just cover this back up. Watch out, piggy. Watch out, piggy. Oh, you know what? Another thing I was doing. Okay, so this is why we went to the nether. I started setting up recipes for tesseracts, and then I made a resonant exchanger. So I did make one tesseract. So if we go to the recipe for this guy, there's a tesseract here for the center item, a couple of Enderium ingots, Eye of Ender, and then a resonant flux capacitor. So the tesseract, as we've seen before, is a real pain to make. We need a couple Ender electron tubes, these capacitors, which requires the vibrant alloy, and the double layer ones, which require the single layer ones, and the energetic alloy, which requires all this stuff. Yeah, it's a pain. And then the teleporter. Don't get me started on the teleporter. Anyway, so I ended up making one of these tesseracts, right? And then we have to put the bronze and the silver around it. So we made the resonant exchanger, which is really awesome because this thing, we can take this and, for instance, if we shift right click on netherrack, we can set it to netherrack. And as long as we have that in our inventory, we can click on something and that'll swap it out. So then we get the flesh in our inventory and it uses up the netherrack. All right. So that is pretty cool. So that's what I was doing to dig out this room because I'd shave off a layer, then there'd be a lot of that flesh in there. Then I'd, replace that flesh with the netherrack, and then I'd be able to shave off another layer. It is such a pain though. I can't wait until we get, what is that high end thing? The Vajra. I can't wait till we get to this point where you can have one of these, but this is going to be ridiculous before we get to here because it requires like iridium reinforced plates and these superconductors. It requires item superconductor.name actually. Yeah, and these require more iridium reinforced plates, which requires all these iridiums and the advanced alloys and diamonds and all this stuff. Yeah, it's going to be a minute before we get to that point. But anyway, this allowed me to get rid of all this flesh, to clean up this room just a little bit. I'm going to need more netherrack. That's fine. I'll fill that in later. But yeah, now that we have this room here, that's all the way up on the nether ceiling. I think what I'd like to do is set up a gold farm. People have been saying in the comments I should do this, and it makes a lot of sense. I keep running out of gold. Hi, piggy. Die, piggy. Oh, man. Look at all the pigmen we got here. What the? I guess I actually aggroed them, and they were just kind of lagging, or I was lagging, or somebody was lagging. Okay, the lag was real. How do we get back in the base? No, that's not the entrance. Chunks load. All right, so I want to set up a gold farm in the nether, and we can get to the ceiling by throwing ender pearls through, I would assume. Once we're on the ceiling, we're going to need a way to get back, so we're going to want to set up another portal. I'm searching for another portal. Obsidian. Let's grab ourselves 10 obsidian like we do. We're going to want some slabs, so let's grab some stone. Some of this stuff. Yeah, we'll make that many slabs. Just so we can put slabs over blocks so we are not spawning things we don't want to spawn. Like, we only want pigmen to spawn a certain spot. We don't want gas to be able to spawn. Things like that. I'm probably going to need a lot more stone than this. So we got obsidian to make a portal. We got some slabs. Then we're also going to want to make conveyor belts. Now, the last time we made conveyor belts, we did the MFR conveyor belts. And these do not allow mobs to spawn on them. We do want mobs to spawn on the pigman farm. So we're going to use these conveyor belts from Extra Utilities. These are like a solid block. They are spawnable, and they move whatever mobs or items are on there in the direction that they're facing. So we can go ahead and make a bunch of these. I have some tracks made up. I thought I had more. Do I not have any more rail than that? Oh, I got a lot of these. So maybe is that iron or redstone? Yeah, we're running low on iron. We have a decent amount of redstone. I guess we just need to split some of these blocks apart. I do want to make a decent sized gold farm here. All right, I'll put that back in the system. That'll take a second. There it goes. I'll just craft all these up. All right, so we got a stack, almost a stack and a half. So we should be able to make a spawning platform where the pigmen are going to spawn. These will move them off the platform and fall down like either one by one or, you know, whatever. We just want them basically to fall. Well, do we want them to fall drop? Drop fall? Die on impact? We might want to do that. I guess we'll try out a few things. I do need to grab some ender pearls too. All right, I think we should be good to go to try this out. So let's go back to the nether real quick. Get me out of here. Yeah, we'll go back to the nether. We'll see if we can get onto the nether roof. I assume we can. I don't think there would be a problem with us doing that. We do have obsidian to make another portal to get back off the roof. I think we could also ender pearl through from up above, if I remember right. That might be a thing. Yeah, we do have that. Do we have a flint and steel would be the next thing I want to find out if we have. So we got a flint and steel. We got the obsidian. Let us throw some ender pearls and see what we can do here. Oh yeah, that was pretty easy to get up on the roof. Maybe we'll put a torch here to mark where our center thing is. I wonder if there's something in this pack that we can use to break bedrock a little bit later. I think there is, because I know we can make things out of bedrockium. Maybe. Was it? I'm trying to remember which pack it was that we had the drill that could go through bedrock. And maybe it wasn't infinity. Maybe that was monster. But yeah, this would be a nice way to get around too. Just nice flat. We don't have to worry about mobs spawning up here on the bedrock. So yeah, that could be a thing. So anyway, we want to, I think first of all, let's set up another portal on the roof here. Where's the portal? I think it is, I'm trying to remember where it is. Is it over here? Yeah, it must be over here. I can hear it louder. We'll just set up a portal here. All right, we don't want mobs spawning on this thing at all. Cool, and then we'll light this. Let's just make sure we go back out of the nether to where we're supposed to be. Yeah, we link back here, and I do not believe that we will link up onto the ceiling. I think we'll go to that room. Okay, so we just have to ender pearl through the ceiling every time to get up there. I'm not sure if there's a better way to do this. I wonder, actually, if we put an elevator block up there, if we can elevator... Okay, now we're going to try that. If we can just elevator up onto the ceiling, because I think we can go through blocks using that elevator, that'll be really, really nice. Let's give that a try. All right, so here's the elevator above the bedrock. We'll place it right there where that torch was, and... Oh, man. That's awesome. Okay, so we don't want anything spawning on that. I don't know if there's going to be a way that we can prevent anything from spawning in that. We'll get piggies here. I do want to prevent ghast from spawning, so maybe what I'll do... Cool, so there we go. We got a covering over the elevator block, so nothing should spawn on there other than like a pigman or something like that. I was also thinking those nature creepers could spawn, and maybe the Thaumcraft bats and things like that. So I did put torches on these blocks to try and prevent those monsters from spawning. I don't know if they spawn in darkness or whenever, but yeah, that's why the torches are here. And then we can go up. These elevator blocks go 20. You can go up 20 blocks before you have to place another one. So that's our max distance. So I went ahead and I went up all the way to about the top of the world, and then I started building a little bit of a farm here. So I took inspiration from the old style vanilla Enderman farms where, you know, the Enderman would spawn on a little block and then piston would push them off and then they go down. That's kind of what I was thinking we should do here. Originally, I tried doing like a big square, you know, like an 8x8 area of these conveyors and let the mob spawn, and they'd eventually slide off. The problem was we were getting spiders spawning, we were getting those Thaumcraft bats spawning, we keep getting the wolves that are spawning. There's nothing I can do about those right now In fact, I don't know if there's gonna be anything we can do about those. I know there is the aversion obelisk, I think is what it's called, from Ender.io, which prevents certain mobs from spawning in a certain range. So maybe we could hook those up somewhere around here. But yeah, this is basically what we have, is just a layer of conveyor belts, and then I have slabs like every other block. They could probably be spaced out a little bit further than that now that I'm thinking about it. But that is to prevent spiders from spawning, since I believe when those spawn, they check like a 3x3 area. If there's no blocks, then they can spawn. So yeah, that's what those are for, is to obstruct that 3x3 area. I know that the way spawning mechanics works, like the vanilla style spawning mechanics, the more air blocks you have around the spawn space, the better. But we have the problem with the spiders, and we don't want the spiders. So yeah, we kind of gotta compromise. So this isn't super fast, but it's fast enough where I can sit here and I can AFK, and you know, stuff will happen. See, there's a dog that just spawned right there. Yeah, so I don't know. I think this is going to work out pretty well. I did cut up some glowstone into glowstone strips, so we're illuminating every other platform. Again, I'm using light to try and prevent like those creepers and those bats from spawning. I don't know if that works or not, but I haven't seen any of those things spawn, so I assume it's working. So yeah, we're preventing spiders. We are getting the dogs. There's nothing we can do. We're trying to prevent the bats and the creepers. It looks like, you know, we are getting a decent amount of pigmen. I could make this bigger. You know, I could make it longer, and then I could also make it taller. And then I want to keep where I'm sitting about right here. We're far enough away where everything can spawn in this farm, and we should be far enough away from down there where nothing else is spawning. That's the whole goal with this right now. Looks like oh, I thought that was a magma cube. Nope, that's a dog. Another thing I noticed, over here, there's like a little spot in the bedrock ceiling. Let's fall down. Yep. So yeah, there is a hole in the bedrock ceiling, natural hole here. And that is from one of these gravestones from BIOMESOP. So yeah, if you dig around long enough, you can find holes through the bedrock. You don't have to ender pearl, which I guess is cool, but you have to deal with all that flesh. And that would just take you literally forever to uncover one of those, unless you get up on the ceiling and you find it. But at least that is a way down in case something happens. Cool. So this is going to be a way that we can farm gold passively. I could just sit here. Things will happen. Pigmen will fall down. They drop their gold nuggets. I think they can also drop gold ingots. But yeah, let's take a look at this. I didn't have enough glass to bring this all the way up there. And like I said, I might do more layers. So it's fine. But let's go down here and let's check out the loot. So this is just a clear glass box. Eventually at the bottom here, I'm going to do more of those conveyors, I think, and then send the items all the way over here, and then they'll get picked up by this vacuum hopper, which is kind of working, but not really. But yeah, that's the idea, that all the items will eventually get sucked up by this vacuum hopper and go into this chest. So that'll be kind of cool. But yeah, right now I just don't have all the materials necessary for that. But yeah, this seems to be working okay. It's not the fastest. I'm happy with it. Cool. I also ran out of rails for those conveyor belts, so I do need to get more of that. I'm going to go into probably more of those abandoned mine shafts. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to end up doing. But yeah, actually, you know what? Let's go back up here. I don't think I even looked to see how much gold we've collected. Got a stack and a half. Okay, well, why did I take damage there? I don't know. Well, I haven't really been letting that thing go too long. Like, I set it up and I've watched it to make sure it works, but I haven't tried AFKing there. I have noticed that we are getting pigmen spawning out here in the overworld. Getting a lot of them, and we're also getting those natured puppies. Let's get rid of those guys. We don't want those around. Cool. Oh, I keep thinking that's the entrance, but it's over here. All right. Well, now we got a way to farm gold, which is pretty awesome. I got some stuff to do. I need to go cook up a lot more glass, and I need to go farm a bunch more of the rails. But yeah, that's all things that we will get done in time. But yeah, guys, I think we're going to go and wrap the episode up here for today. Still waiting on... Actually, you know what? Let's go check on that. It's been quite some time now. Let's see how far we are. We're still waiting on these things. Doesn't look like they're much bigger. They're 12%, so maybe that whole 16-hour thing is correct. It seemed like it was going a little bit faster than that, but maybe not. Well, you know what? Maybe this chunk isn't loaded. Oh, that could be a thing. Let's check that out. If we go into our map here, yep, that's exactly what it was. The whole time I was in the Nether, I was wasting time. There it goes, chunk loaded. Okay, so this thing should now go when I'm offline. Oh man, I wish I would have remembered to chunk load that area. Okay, but yeah, we're gonna go and wrap the episode up here for today. We're waiting on the AE2 stuff. Should be ready for next time. I'm very excited to start working on that and get a quarry going. We definitely need resources. We're down to about 4 iron blocks right now. I really don't want to go mining by hand again. We've done so much of that so far in the series. But if we have to, we have to, and we will do it. But yeah, that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to leave a like on the episode if you liked it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.